Canada has always been a nation of risk takers and builders. The country was originally forged by Indigenous peoples and voyageurs who mapped the continent and built vast trading networks from coast to coast to coast before the Americans had even left St. Louis. And by the early 1870s, a young Canada was a vast land of provinces bound together, has to be said, mainly in name, a mere geographical expression in Sir John A. Macdonald's memorable phrase. Facing at that time an economic depression and threats to our sovereignty from our southern neighbor, Canadians chose to build. And the Canadian Pacific Railway became the connective tissue of a new country, the iron spine from east to west, expanding Canada and bringing British Columbia into Confederation. Our resources were unlocked. Our trade increased. Our industries grew, and a stronger, more united, and more prosperous Canada emerged. The CPR itself, Canadian Pacific Railway, became one of the most profitable enterprises in the British Empire, and its founders, Lord Mount Stephen and Lord Strathcona, numbered amongst its wealthiest people. Now, today, Canada faces new challenges from a world that's changing, not gradually, but suddenly. Technological change is accelerating. The foundations of the international order, the order which Canada helped to build and from which we have long benefited, that order is crumbling. And many of our former strengths, built on our close ties to the United States, have become our weaknesses. The US has changed. That's their right. And we are responding. That is our imperative. We are responding with speed and ambition, focusing on what we can control, which is to build our strength at home and diversify our partnerships abroad. Abroad, we've secured more than 20 economic and security partnerships across 4 continents in less than a year. We're re-engaging with global giants like India, China, and Brazil. And we're deepening our partnerships with our closest allies, including the European Union, the Nordic countries, and Australia. As a result, we're attracting the strongest investment in the G7. And we're on track to double our non-US exports within a decade. That's $300 billion of new orders for Canadian resources, goods, and expertise. At home, we're catalyzing a series of nation-building projects in energy, trade, critical minerals, transport, data, and beyond. We've announced 21 nation-building initiatives that will connect, diversify, and propel our economy through over $125 billion of new investment. We're realizing Canada's full potential in clean and conventional energies to power Canadian homes, build Canadian businesses, and reinforce Canadian sovereignty. We're building a strong economy where everyone has a chance to get ahead, where we can take care of the vulnerable in our society, where we pull together to make life more affordable today and better tomorrow. These are still early days, but we're already delivering results. Nous avons déjà soumis 21 projets et stratégies au Bureau des grands projets des ports, des autoroutes, des mines et des corridors commerciaux et énergétiques. L'année dernière, la construction de la nouvelle centrale nucléaire de Darlington a commencé en Ontario. Plus tôt ce mois-ci, nous avons donné le coup d'envoi d'un projet d'expansion du terminal de Contrecoeur au port de Montréal. Un projet qui a fait l'objet de débats pendant plus de 4 décennies et finalement en construction. Et nous venons d'approuver le projet d'agrandissement Sunrise. Elle augmentant la capacité principale réseau de transport de gaz naturel de la Colombie-Britannique. Le projet, d'une valeur de 4 milliards de dollars, aidera à répondre à la croissance de la demande énergétique de la province. Cet été, nous lancerons le projet de route de la vallée du Mackenzie dans les territoires du Nord-Ouest, un projet dont j'attends parler depuis mon enfance. Nous avons signé 56 accords sur les minéraux critiques avec plus de 10 pays. Ces accords contribueront à débloquer 18,5 milliards de dollars pour des projets liés aux minéraux critiques au Canada. Et on ne fait que commencer. Nous réalisons des projets à travers notre vaste territoire. Les installations de GNL en Colombie-Britannique, aux mines de la Saskatchewan, du Québec et du Nouveau-Brunswick, en passant par une nouvelle ligne de train à très grande vitesse reliant Toronto à Québec, ainsi que le premier grand projet d'éolien en mer du Canada au large des côtes de la Nouvelle-Écosse. Tomorrow, the Minister of Finance will release our first spring update. And it will show how Canada's new government is combining responsible fiscal management with new measures to ensure that all Canadians can participate in building a more independent and a more resilient Canadian economy. Building Canada strong means building a Canada where everyone has a stake, where growth is shared, and where prosperity reaches every region, every community, and every family. So today, we're proud to announce a new pillar of our plan, the Canada Strong Fund, Canada's first national sovereign wealth fund. This will be a Government of Canada fund, but more importantly, this will be a people's fund. It will be your fund. Le nouveau gouvernement du Canada a créé un nouveau fonds souverain qui investira dans de grands projets ambitieux canadiens, des projets dans le domaine de l'énergie, de l'infrastructure, des mines, de l'agriculture et des technologies, aux côtés d'investisseurs privés. Et pour la première fois dans l'histoire du Canada, les Canadiens et Canadiennes ne se contenteront pas juste de contribuer à la réalisation de ces projets. Ils bénéficieront directement de leurs retombées. Le Fonds pour un Canada fort permettra de bâtir de façon stratégique, en partenariat avec les Canadiennes et les Canadiens. So here's how it works. A sovereign wealth fund is essentially a national savings and investment account. It's designed to grow wealth for future generations of Canadians. Many countries that are blessed with natural resources, like Norway, have sovereign wealth funds. Canada hasn't had one until now. The new Canada Strong Fund will give all Canadians a direct stake in building Canada strong. Now, to be clear, just like with the construction of the Canadian Pacific Railway 150 years ago, Canada's major projects will mostly be built by private companies. And just as in the 1870s, the federal government will support these projects through loans, grants, and other incentives. And we do this because these projects have wider benefits to our economies, benefits that exceed the private returns. I'll give an example. Expanding the port of Montreal at Contrecoeur will unlock new markets for thousands of Canadian businesses and create hundreds of thousands of jobs for Canadian workers. So, until now, while those wider benefits flowed to the Canadian economy, flowed to our country, the financial returns of the projects themselves flowed only to those who built and ran them. That changes today. When the CPR was built, the government of the day granted a private monopoly to the company. Today, to create wealth for Canadians today and our kids tomorrow, the Canada Strong Fund will invest alongside the private sector in nation-building projects on a fully commercial basis. We will begin with an initial endowment of $25 billion. Over time, The fund will grow through asset recycling and reinvestment, creating even greater opportunities for future generations. We will also do something else that's new and important. For those Canadians who want to participate in an even more direct way, we will make it easy for individual Canadians to invest in the fund and therefore own a small piece of nation-building projects and share in their returns. The fund will be professionally managed and operate as an arm's-length independent Crown corporation. And we'll consult over the coming months on the specific aspects of the fund. But one thing is sure, it will be accessible to everyone, not just a few. Because the Canada Strong Fund is about solidarity amongst Canadians, no matter where they live. So whether a project is in Alberta, Quebec, or in the far north, high north, all Canadians will have a stake. Because this is about ensuring that you and your children and your children's children benefit from the prosperity that we are creating today. You know, in many ways, we're walking today the same path as our predecessors did. We have the same conviction that ambition and drive can change the course of a nation. We have the same catalytic role for government to make nation-building projects happen. We have the same reliance on private enterprise to build and run these businesses. But at the same time, we've also learned from our past. The Canadian Pacific Railway transformed Canada, but it did so in a way that also left deep scars. Indigenous peoples were displaced from their lands. Thousands of workers toiled in appalling conditions. And the wealth that was created accrued to the few, not the many. Three things are different this time. This time, we are building with Indigenous peoples as full partners, ensuring meaningful Indigenous ownership and major economic benefits. This time, we are building in solidarity with Canadian workers, creating hundreds of thousands of high-paying union jobs. And this time, for the first time in our history, every Canadian will hold a direct stake in what's built. Because we know that nation building is not just about what we build, it's also about how we build. We are building together with all Canadians and for all Canadians. Nous bâtissons une économie plus forte, plus autonome et plus résiliente pour tous. Un avenir qui n'est pas seulement solide, mais aussi prometteur. Un Canada qui n'est pas seulement prospère, mais juste. Un Canada qui n'est pas réservé à quelques-uns, mais qui est pour tous en tout temps. Jean Lesage, le père du Québec moderne, a dit « Notre situation historique et géographique nous a forcés de devenir ce que nous sommes. Nous voulons désormais être ce que nous pouvons devenir. » C'est cette même philosophie qui nous inspire aujourd'hui pour créer le Fonds Canada Fort. Par l'entremise de ce fonds, chacun des Canadiens et Canadiennes aura sa part des bénéfices découlant de ces grands projets. Ce sont nos ressources naturelles, notre main-d'œuvre et notre richesse. Voilà la meilleure façon d'être maître chez nous, pour bâtir un Canada fort pour tous. Un Canada où tout le monde y trouve son compte, où tout le monde peut participer. It's our country. It's your future. We're building by Canadians, for all Canadians. We are building Canada Strong for all. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.